guys, I am Alistair Norman. I'm a community engagement specialist at Avant. And yeah, I'm super excited to chat with you.
Awesome, yeah. So I'm Wilberto Torres. I'm a marketing specialist for Avant Healthcare Professionals. I've been working here for about 2 years, and it's just great to share these moments with a lot of the associates that we have on our staff that are helping you guys and changing lives every day. But one of the first things I want to kind of get into, Alistair, was where you're from and why you came here, and just give us the whole story of that.
You could tell that I'm not from around here?
Yeah, I can.
Okay,
I can
right.
You guys can tell by the accent, right?
Yeah, it's like I'm originally from near Manchester in the UK. So I was born and raised there, but I lived a lot of my life in a lot of different places. Before I moved here, I used to live in Germany, in Berlin.
Oh, wow. Why did you decide to move to the United States?
For a girl. Yeah, so I met my wife in Germany. We were both living in Germany at the time. And then her time in Germany was coming to an end, so she had to come back to the US, and I said, not without me. Yeah,
that's right. What was the first day like of moving to the United States? How did you feel? What type of shock were you into? What was just the first impressions that you were getting?
So anyone will tell you who's done a really big move from one country to another, it's exhausting. The first day when you arrive, doesn't matter how long it is or how long the flight was, the first day, as soon as you get in, you put your bags down, you just sit on the sofa and you just go,
oh yeah,
oh my word. It was really tiring, especially it's a 12 hour flight time in the airport. It was tiring, but it was so nice to be there. I hadn't seen my wife in almost a year at that point, so it was really cool to be reunited again.
That's really awesome. So there's a lot of comparisons that happen between United States and other countries when it comes to simple things like food. Like, what were the first big things when it came food-wise to you that you're thinking?
Food-wise, I'll say this every time, it's the portions. It's how they say everything's bigger over here, and it's completely true.
It's true, right?
Yeah, one of the first things we did when we arrived, I went to a fast food place, and I was like, I know that the portions are usually really big, so I'm not going to get the large, I'll just get the medium. And I got the medium, and sure enough, it was like a 2-liter bottle of Coke. It was the biggest thing I'd ever seen, and that was a medium. So that was definitely something to get used to.
Yeah, it's true. Everything here is bigger portion-wise. I hear that all the time. One of the biggest things from a lot of the healthcare professionals, like you guys out there, that come to the United States, one of the first things they say is how much bigger everything is. 100%. When it comes from the food to the stores. How about the stores?
My God. Well, yeah, I mean, going into Walmart or something like that, it's like, there's Walmarts that are the size of my hometown. Like, they're enormous, absolutely huge. And, just the distance and how far away things can be, Like, in Florida, you can drive 12 hours and still be in Florida.
Right.
In Europe, you drive 12 hours from Paris, you're in Prague. Like, you're in the Czech Republic. Like, it's a long way to go. So, that's definitely something to get used to.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I could see that, and I know that's another big thing that they're always saying. There's big super centers where we have all these grocery stores. Everything is in one place. They don't have a lot of separate specialty stores. Like, just everything in one spot. So it's pretty crazy there, and you guys might get to experience that as well if you join the Avant program. And once you're doing your cultural transitions, we do have a big Walmart right next to the office where you guys will be trading and doing your cultural transitions as well as your clinical training. So that's something exciting to look forward to. How about driving? I know driving's, well, first off, besides being on a whole different side of the road, how does it compare?
Oh my word. Well, driving was my number one fear when I came to the US. Driving was my number one fear.
I feel like it's a big fear for a lot of people.
And I totally understand it. It's driving is the culture here in America, right? And the roads are so big, and the cars are so big, and it can be really intimidating at first. I myself, I had not driven a car for 10 years before I moved here.
Wow.
I had always lived in places where there was a bus or a train or something like that. But over here, I knew that I had to learn to drive, and I was terrified. I was terrified. I had bad driving experiences back in the UK, driving a stick shift car, going up hills and, in terrible weather and things like that. I thought, oh, goodness me, this is going to be terrible.
Right.
But then when I got here, I realized that those conditions play to your advantage. It's wider roads, so you feel like you've got more space.
Right.
The cars are bigger, so you feel more comfortable. The parking spaces are bigger, so it's easier to park.
Oh, okay.
They make driving as easy as possible here. And not only that, but you're driving an automatic for the most part.
Right.
And if you're driving an automatic, you don't have to worry about starting on a hill and things like that.
Yeah.
That was the thing that worried me the most.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can see that, and there's so many different changes, so many different things. Especially here where we live in Florida, everything's all flat over here, so you don't have to worry about too many.
Yeah, that's a big one. They say if you can learn to drive in Florida, then you can drive anywhere.
Oh yeah. So how about just the overall culture, attitudes of Americans, the overall demeanor that you sense that you get from moving to a different country and interacting with some of the people here in the United States.
Yeah.
What are the differences that you see?
Well, I think compared to the UK and definitely to Germany, so where I've lived before,
right,
people in America are definitely more open with their emotion.
Right.
Which I think is a fantastic thing. I think when people are happy, they express their happiness. When people they are unhappy, they express that. But that's good. I'd rather that than play a guessing game, right?
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
But I think generally in America, you're going to find people anywhere you go, whether it's in Orlando, Florida, or Missouri or Washington, wherever you go, people are friendly. Like, people are genuinely outgoing, happy to see you, and it's just a really welcoming environment wherever you go. I truly believe that.
We have pulled up into a drive-thru for a little chain called Chick-fil-A here. We can get the chicken sandwiches and whatnot. So kind of talk to the audience about different types of drive-thru and how that's completely different. How it's so normal over here in the United States to go through.
Yeah, there are some restaurants where you can only drive through. Yeah. Like, you look inside and there's literally just the kitchen. There's no place to sit. There's nothing. You've got to drive past in your car. So the drive-thru is a very popular place, especially at lunchtime.
Right.
Yeah. There's always people going out and getting their lunch here.
Yeah, you'll definitely get used to that, and as we were talking about earlier, that's why cars are so important in the United States culture that we're even pull the car through a drive-thru to get food. So
that's true.
It's very common to do this. This is a common thing to do on lunch, or to go on go with coworkers on lunch break and just go through a drive-thru, get your food quickly. It's efficient, but you can still go inside if you please. It's just more common for people to go to drive-thru. So when you moved here, obviously there's a lot of different sports that get played over here, and I'm sure you've become a fan of some of the American sports. What's that like, culture-wise, the different energy that you see in the crowd, and the different things that we have for new healthcare professionals to enjoy when they're here?
Yeah, so coming from Manchester in the UK, I mean, it's pretty synonymous with soccer, right? With football. The wrong football team, I say. Manchester City are my team. Manchester United are the famous one. I don't like them. But so sport for me is always a big thing. I love watching live sport any chance I get and things like that. And in the UK, it's very much like a local civic pride kind of thing, right? It's like it's a football team, but it represents the city, it represents the town.
The town, right?
And I think you definitely get a sense of that in most American sports. I love pretty much all American sport. My favorite is baseball. I'll watch baseball 7 days a week. It's my favorite thing. I love the history, the aesthetics of it. It's a nice slow-paced game that you can just kind of have on in the background and do your chores and do other things, and it's always there for you. There's no time limit. It's just let's play the game. So I really like that.
Yeah.
And then college football. That's one that was completely crazy to me.
Right.
From the outside looking in, thinking like, wait, amateur sports, college sports of 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds playing for their university, and they get 100,000 people watching that every week in Michigan, and 75,000 people in Florida going to watch, the Gators play every week. I was like, that's crazy. But since I came here, I got it. I understood where it came from, because the passion, it's got that connection to the local community like soccer does in the UK, and I think that's really cool. Yeah,
no, that's amazing, and that's this is a great thing to talk about, because there's a lot of different pastimes for you guys. Once you get back home from a long shift, there's a lot of different things you can do, whether it be watch sports, you can play sports, you can find local clubs, and you're gonna be able to play with the local community, so you don't have to be bored. There's a lot of different things that you can do after work, women's and men. So whether it's watching sports or playing them, you guys will have plenty to do over here, no matter what state you end up going to.
And here's my biggest piece of advice for you guys, is that if there was something that you enjoyed to do back home, chances are you're going to be able to do that here. In some way, shape or form. Don't put it to one side. If it was playing the guitar, get yourself a guitar. I know that's a big suitcase to take with you as a guitar case. So a lot of people leave their instruments at home. But if you like going swimming, if you like going for a run, or just sitting in the park, you can do all those things. It's really easy to fall into the trap of going to work and then going home and just going to work and home and just kind of chilling out at home and watching Netflix. I love Netflix. I love watching the TV, but sometimes you gotta put yourself out there, especially when you move to a new place.
Yeah, absolutely. Earlier we had talked a little bit and glanced over our positions and what we did at Avant Healthcare Professionals. You want to go in a little more depth of exactly what you do and how you help our healthcare professionals here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a community engagement specialist, and what that means is my role is focused on making sure that our HCPs are having the best possible time on their assignment and while they're here in the transitions program as well. Because work is one thing, right, when it comes to your clinical side of things and making sure that everything's going well in your facility and things like that, but there's a whole life outside of work that is really, really important. Work-life balance is a huge thing. So in my role, it's about finding ways that we can help you guys feel like you're connected with your community, that you've got fun things to do outside of work, and that we can help reduce that bit of stress and that burnout as well.
So our journey is coming to an end. We really hoped that we got to talk to you guys about everything that you were hoping to hear, and it was a pleasure, Alistair, for you coming out, just letting them all know the different types of things that they might encounter on their journey to the United States. I think this is incredible knowledge for them to know. What do you think? Yeah.
I would have loved to have the amount of support from Avant when I moved here, as we give to our HCPs. I'm really, really proud of the work that we do, and I've met so many amazing HCPs over the last 2 years of working here. That has just been really, really incredible, and I'm excited for many, many more to come.
Awesome. So thanks again, guys, for joining us. We can't wait to see you guys next time. Hopefully we can do a few more of these in the future, and talk to you guys more about it, and any questions you guys have. We're just really excited to have you guys move here, and really excited for you guys to go through our program, and so we look forward to everything. Have a good one, guys. Bye.